As we hit 4 o'clock on this Wednesday, big news from Denver. Just within the last hour, we've learned that Denver's police chief, Paul Pazen, is retiring effective October 15th. That announcement made by Mayor Michael Hancock, who said that Pazen has served the city with integrity during his lengthy career.
Pazen has been with the department for 28 years, the last 4 as chief. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow joins us. And Matt, this seems a bit unexpected.
It sure does, Kim. Nobody I know in the department said they saw this coming. And when I interviewed Chief Pazen a few weeks ago, he gave no hints, as far as I could tell, that he was about to leave. Pazen was sworn in as chief in June of 2018. During his 4 years heading the department, he wrestled with significant increases in crime and significant shortages of police officers. He prided himself on being reform-minded and community-oriented. In the press release announcing Pazen's departure, Mayor Hancock described Pazen as an advocate for improved and comprehensive training of officers and alternative police responses, and mentioned Pazen's data-driven approach to trying to drive down crime in Denver's so-called hotspot areas. In a written statement, Pazen said, quote, "It's been an honor to serve the people of the city, and I couldn't be prouder to have done it alongside these dedicated women and men of the department." Mayor Hancock has nominated Chief of Patrol Ron Thomas to replace Pazen. The mayor said Thomas will assume day-to-day management of the department on September 6th. Kim and Tom.
Well, as you said, it was somewhat surprising. People may be wondering why, or why now anyway, but you certainly could say that even in just 4 years as chief, there were challenges and there were controversies for Chief Pazen.
No doubt, Tom. Perhaps chief among them, the department's response to the George Floyd protests last year, and most recently the shooting in Denver, the police-involved shooting of several innocent bystanders after the bars let out.
So you look at the changes in Aurora and now Denver. Police departments are really shifting in the metro area.
And it's rather unsettling both for the residents of both cities and the departments themselves. It will be very interesting to see how the department responds and whether or not this will affect crime in any way.
Yeah, we'll hear more about this, I think, in the days ahead. All right, thank you, Matt.
Also new at 4 o'clock, Denver's district attorney has both identified and charged the man who allegedly shot a 13-year-old last week. It happened in the 1000 block of 14th Avenue on August 22nd. Catrell James now charged with shooting the boy in the arm while his mom was driving him home after school. Specifically, several counts of attempted murder, along with assault and weapons charges. The child's mother had just picked up her son, and she had to slam on the brakes to avoid hitting James. Police say he was in the middle of the street yelling at drivers. The mother was able to get around him, but that's when police say he fired the shots that hit the boy. Tonight, Denver Public Schools remains at the bargaining table with the teachers union. They're trying to settle on a new contract because the current one expires in less than 12 hours.
The last contract negotiations ended with a teacher strike in 2019. Today, both sides tell Jennifer Meckles they're optimistic they can reach an agreement this time around. She is outside the school district headquarters tonight, and Jenny, no one wants to go through a strike again.
Nobody, Kim. Neither side, nor the reporters who are covering it, nor the public and the students who go to these schools. Nobody wants to do that again. The Denver Classroom Teachers Association, DCTA, and the district have been at the table all day. Sometimes they've been together, sometimes they've been working individually. They have until midnight before this current contract expires, and both sides want to get this done ASAP. DCTA, the union, told us they have actually found a lot of common ground with the district this time around, but they're stuck on a couple of issues still. That includes compensation, benefits, class sizes. DCTA told me today they're asking for a 12% cost of living increase, and the union says the district is offering about a fourth of that. There was a proposal shared on some documents during this public meeting today suggesting the district might be proposing 6.2% increase, which would be cost of living as well as those steps and lanes, you know, like the education level of a teacher, the experience level of a teacher. But it's important to note these are still negotiations. These things are still being hashed out. Nothing is final at this hour. But everyone agrees and told me today that Denver is an expensive place to live and work.
It is incredibly difficult and expensive to live in Denver. As you may well know, the inflation rate is 8–9%. Many of our teachers are not able to afford to live in Denver Metro because the rent is so high.
One of the things that we know that's in front of mind for our teachers is the economy. Right now, it's difficult to live in Denver, so we want to make sure that they have a competitive wage, and we want to make sure that we're competitive to other neighboring schools.
And this, again, 2019, is what both sides would like to avoid this time around. The strike that we saw after negotiations failed last time around. That was the first DPS strike in 25 years. Now, while both sides want to reach this agreement today, they also tell me there are options if this doesn't happen today that do not include a strike. Things like contract extensions, future mediation. So we have a lot of ways to go before anything like that could be on the table again today, and nobody's talking about a strike, to be very clear. However, I think it's important to talk about tone and trust in the room, and you'll get a different answer depending on who you ask. If you ask the district, they say the tone is good, it is collegial, they're building a lot of trust with the union since these pandemic years were so tough. But if you ask the union, Kim, it's a little bit of a different answer. They feel like that the numbers or the portrayal of certain information from the district today is wrong. They push back on that several times during meetings, and they say there is still a lot of mistrust to work through.
Well, okay, they've got several hours, and the strike memories are kind of fresh in everyone's mind. So let's hope that everything comes to the table and everything's signed on the dotted line by midnight. So thank you, Jenny. We know you'll update us throughout the evening. Okay. A possible case of monkeypox has sent some kids and staff home from a Longmont child care center.
Yeah, that business is the Sunset Academy. They say it was made aware about the possible case of monkeypox early this morning. The school would not say if the person is a child or an adult, but would say they were associated with the business. And the director of the child care center says those students and staff that may have been exposed were excused from those programs today. The academy has connected with Boulder County Public Health and disinfected the areas, hoping that they can welcome those exposed students and staff back tomorrow. Boulder County Public Health would not confirm the possible case, but did say it is investigating the situation. Now, according to CDC guidelines, those possibly exposed to monkeypox don't have to quarantine, but should monitor their health for any rash or flu-like symptoms over the next 21 days.
Extreme heat apparently does more than just make people feel physically uncomfortable. It can make us emotionally uncomfortable. According to a new study, Gallup's involved in this one, people who live in areas where the temperatures are hotter than usual are more susceptible for a lower sense of well-being. Researchers say older people appear to be more affected more often. We're going to take a live look outside right now because it's been a hot August for sure, the fourth hottest on record. And not only that, today we hit 57 days at 90 or above today because it's been a lot. We've been trying to keep track. Tom, you're a numbers guy.
Yeah,
so
57.
I know you knew it was
Yeah.
57.
Well, 57, you think Tom Jackson.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Tom, yes, that was his number. Okay, thank you.
That's where I'm going with that.
Kathy,
So we've hit
yeah.
Tom
I was
Jackson
like
many days.
57 days more than 90. Okay,
Right.
got it.
That's above average, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you that, right?
And Tom Jackson was above average too, though.
Right. And I don't have to
Pretty
tell
good.
you that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this Tom's above average most of the time.
Maybe
Definitely don't have to
might have gone a bridge too far there.
Okay.
You guys, we had a weak weather system cross the state early today after a beautiful sunrise, and in spite of the afternoon cloud cover, temperatures back in the low 90s. But actually a much more interesting weather day. We're tracking scattered thunderstorms south and east of the metro area, and some have turned severe. Outside we go, and those dark clouds bringing wind and lightning to the foothills, rain to the higher terrain areas, the I-70 corridor. 92 in Denver today, 90 in Lyman, 93 in Pueblo, 96 in Grand Junction. We do have the water vapor imagery seeing that moisture coming into southeastern Colorado from the south, but it's the upper air disturbance that's crossing that extends from Omaha into Burlington that has produced that line of storms that have dropped 1-inch diameter hail and also produced multiple landspout tornadoes north of the Goodland area. So no destruction, damage, or injuries there, but an active afternoon in and around the Flagler area, Burlington and Goodland. The severe thunderstorms have crossed now out of Colorado into Nebraska and Kansas, but powerful storms out there still this hour, and we're waiting to see if some of the outflow boundaries will produce additional shower and thunderstorm development along the Front Range. Those storms are moving pretty quickly toward the southeast, so we've got a limited window where we could see one of those storms cross into Denver. And so temperatures in the 80s now will drop into the mid-70s after about sunset and stay there until midnight. We've got a warm weather trend heading into the holiday weekend, and I will detail the holiday weekend forecast that's coming up.
All right, Kathy, thanks. Well, after cutting their roster down to 53 players yesterday, the Broncos were bringing back many of those that they'd just cut, putting them on the practice squad today. And among the most notable players coming back into the building was quarterback Josh Johnson. But what is the practice squad, actually? Well, our Broncos insider knows these kinds of things. Mike Kliss joining us now. Mike, lay it out for us, if you will. I don't know if everybody knows really the nuts and bolts of the practice squad. How many players are on the squad? Do they make their full NFL salary? And how hard is it for them to jump back up to the 53-man roster?
It's gone through some changes, Tom. I think you and I remember when it was called the taxi squad. They used to have about 8 players. Now there's 16. Because of COVID, they really jumped the numbers to 16 players. They also changed it so veteran players like Josh Johnson could be on the practice squad. Before, it was for younger players, kind of like the minor leagues in baseball, where basically you kept your prospects that needed a little more developing. Now, because of COVID, with the virus knocking players off, out of the lineup a couple days before the game, they needed an increased emergency roster, which is what the practice squad became. While they're on the practice squad, it's just like it sounds. They are the practice team for the week. In other words, for the Broncos, the practice squad will do a lot of things in practice that the Seattle Seahawks will do, so they can give a good look to the starters going into that game on September 12th, Monday, September 12th for the opener. But they don't make the full salary. Josh Johnson, for instance, would have made $1.2 million had he stayed on the 53-man roster. On the practice squad, he's going to be one of the highest paid guys, making about $305,000. So quite a bit less, but still not a bad living for some of these veterans. And even for the younger guys, they're making a little over $200,000 a year. Prorated, they all get paid by the week.
You're still in the league. So this ends really the bulk of the personnel work as far as shaping this year's team. Now there are these 12 days to get ready for Seattle and the real thing. So what's the team's plan for these 12 days to be ready on Monday the 12th?
Yeah, they had a practice today. They were in shoulder pads and they're having team. Actually, the practice squad was watching today because it was the first string defense against the first string offense. And then they're going to practice again tomorrow. And then Nathaniel Hackett is going to give them a couple days off. They're going to be off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over the weekend, and then come back Monday and go at it. They have that extra day because they don't play on Sunday. They play the following Monday. So Hackett's going to get them nice and rested up and really go at it next week, preparing for Seattle. And by the way, Randy Gregory and Billy Turner, the edge rusher and right tackle, are cleared for contact, so they should play in that opener.
Yeah, a couple of guys they're counting on. Well, we'll get a chance to talk to you much more about the Broncos as they get ready for the Seahawks when we visit with you coming up 5 o'clock. Thanks, Mike. The new designer drug that the DEA says is targeting teenagers.
Plus, the surprising number of Americans who haven't gotten their COVID booster shots. What one state is doing to try and bring down the cost of some prescription drugs. Also coming up.